Hello, welcome to Campus paper. This is IGCSE Chemistry, paper 4, variant 1, May-June 2024. Let's begin. Question 1. Name the process that is used to A. Convert sulfur dioxide into sulfur trioxide in the manufacture of sulfuric acid. The answer is contact process. Contact process is used in the manufacture of sulfuric acid. Common mistake that students make is writing oxidation. That is wrong. It's too vague. They are asked for the process. So not the type of reaction. So the answer is contact process. B. The process that is used to obtain water from aqueous sodium chloride. The answer is distillation. We separate water from dissolved salt by boiling and condensing. C. Extract aluminium from purified bauxite. The process is electrolysis. Aluminium is too reactive for carbon reduction. Remember, metals that are too reactive for carbon reduction are being extracted using electrolysis. Next, the process that is used to separate petroleum into useful substances. That process is fractional distillation. Fractional distillation separates substances with different boiling point. So that's the correct answer, fractional distillation. Next, the process that is used to produce ethanol from aqueous glucose. That process is fermentation. Fermentation is anaerobic respiration using yeast. Next, manufacture alkenes and hydrogen from large alkane molecules. That process is cracking. Cracking is breaking of large hydrocarbons into smaller ones. Next, separate a mixture of soluble colored substance. That process is chromatography. Question 2. Complete table 2.1. Now this is table 2.1. We have to write the number of protons, number of electrons, and number of neutrons. So the first atom that we have is chlorine atom. Asks what is the number of protons? The number of protons is going to be 17. Why? Because atomic number is the same thing as proton number. And since the atomic number of chlorine is 17, that means the number of protons is also 17. The number of neutrons. The number of neutrons is going to be the mass number minus the atomic number, because the mass number is the proton and neutron. And since the proton is 17, that means the neutron is going to be 37 minus 17, which is 20. Next is copper ion. So take note, it is an ion. There's a sign here. So you have to take note of that. Now, what is the number of proton? The number of proton is 29. Same explanation as this. This sign does not affect the number of proton. This plus sign means it has lost electron. So it doesn't change the number of proton. So our number of proton is the same thing with the atomic number, which is 29. The number of electrons. Now, normally for a neutral atom, the number of protons is equal to the number of electrons, which is supposed to be 29. But here, this is not a neutral atom. It is an ion, copper ion. It has lost one electron. That is why it is having more proton than electron. So it is positively charged. So because it has lost one electron, the number of electrons is not going to be 29, but rather 28. Now here we are supposed to write the atom or the ion. So how do we identify the atom? Let's start with the number of protons, which is 16. Remember, we say number of protons is the same as atomic number. So we go to our periodic table, look for the element with atomic number 16. So this is it, sulfur. So that means here it's supposed to be sulfur. The atomic number is 16. Then our mass number is going to be 16 plus 17, because the mass number is the number of protons and neutrons in the nucleus of the atom. So 16 plus 17 is 33. Now, mistake that students make sometimes is thinking that the mass number of sulfur in the periodic table, which is 32, would automatically be our mass number here. Don't make that mistake, because the atom could be an isotope. Remember that isotopes have different mass number. So add the number of protons and neutrons that you have in the table to get your mass number. Don't just copy the mass number on the periodic table and then bring it here. Now, next is we want to know, is it an ion or an atom? So how do we know? Is the number of electrons. Now look at the number of electrons is 18. And the number of electrons is supposed to be 16 if it were a neutral atom. Because for neutral atom, number of protons is equal to number of electrons. But since it is 18, that means it has gained 2 electrons, making it 18. So therefore, here we are going to indicate it by writing 2 minus, meaning it has gained 2 electrons. And that is why the number of the electron is 18 and not 16. Question 3. This question is about the element sodium and fluorine and the compound sodium fluoride. Sodium reacts with fluorine to form sodium fluoride. Write a symbol equation for this reaction. So for this, just follow the sentence and write their symbol. Very simple. You have sodium, reacting with fluorine, that means plus fluorine, symbol of fluorine is F, but our fluorine is in group 7. I will say group 7 elements are diatomic, so that means it's going to be F2 to form sodium fluoride. Now, next is for you to balance your equation. So we have 2 fluorine here. We have to make this fluorine to be 2. So we add 2. Remember, when you're balancing your chemical equation, you don't write number as subscript or in between. So you don't write 2 here or 2 here. You only write it here as a coefficient. Now writing 2 here, meaning that our sodium is also 2 because the 2 is for both sodium and fluorine. So fluorine is 2, sodium is 2. That means we have to come back here and make this sodium 2 also. So we add 2. So with this, our equation is balanced. Next question. Some properties of sodium, fluorine, and sodium fluoride are shown in table 3.1. This is table 3.1. We have their melting point, boiling point, conduction of electricity when solid, and then conduction of electricity in aqueous solution. Our question says, explain why sodium conducts electricity when it is a solid. The answer is because its electrons are free. You remember your metallic bond, you said that metals have free electrons, and because of that, they conduct electricity when they are solid. Next, complete the dot and cross diagram in figure 3.1 of a molecule of fluorine. Show outer shell electrons only. So we have to show outer shell electrons only. It's important that you follow this instruction. So to draw our dot and cross diagram, I will always advise students to first of all write the electronic configuration of the elements involved. So we have fluorine, 2 fluorine. Check our periodic table, fluorine is number 9. So that means the number of electrons fluorine is 9, and the electronic structure is going to be 2, 7, and 2, 7, since both of them are fluorine. Now, each fluorine needs 1 electron to complete its shell. And remember, we said that the number of electrons an atom needs to complete their shell is the number of electrons they are going to share. So that means this fluorine is going to bring 1 electron, and this fluorine is going to be 1 electron. And since it's a dot and cross diagram, we give 1 fluorine dot and the second fluorine cross. So this is how it's going to be. They are sharing a pair of electrons. Now this is not where our answer is. We have to complete the dot and cross. Now this fluorine is with the dot, give out 1 electron to be shared. That means, remember, we are dealing with the outer shell. So this is not there, only the outer shell. So that means we have 6 more electrons left because it shared 1. So those 6 electrons, you are not throwing them away. You write them on the outer shell. So this is going to be same thing with the second fluorine. Shared 1 electron. So we'll be left with 6. So those 6 electrons are going to be here. Now with this, the dot and cross diagram is complete. Fluorine is 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The second fluorine is also 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Complete. Next question. Deduce the physical state of fluorine at minus 200 degrees Celsius. Use the data in table 3.1 to explain your answer. We're supposed to talk about the physical state and then we explain why. So let's go back to the table. So this is our table. The melting point of fluorine is minus 220 and the boiling point is minus 188. Now, remember, we want to know the physical state at minus 200 degrees Celsius. Now, if it melts at minus 220, that means at minus 200, it's going to be liquid because at 188, it starts boiling. So it has to be liquid before it boils. And 200 is between minus 220 and minus 188. So that means definitely the physical state is going to be liquid. And the reason is because the melting point is below minus 200 degrees Celsius and the boiling point is above minus 300 degrees Celsius, as we have seen in the table. Next question. Explain in terms of structure and bonding why sodium fluoride has a much higher melting point than fluorine. The answer is sodium fluoride has ionic bonding and strong electrostatic forces, while fluoride is a simple molecule with weak intermolecular forces. Next question. Dilute aqueous sodium fluoride undergoes electrolysis. Hydrogen is produced at the cathode. State what is meant by the term electrolysis. Simple definition of electrolysis is the breakdown of molten or aqueous ionic compound by electricity. It's important you mention molten or aqueous ionic compound. Don't just say ionic compound by electricity because the ionic compound must either be molten or aqueous. Next question. Write an ionic half equation for the production of hydrogen at the cathode. At the cathode, reduction takes place. And what is reduction? Reduction is gain of electron. From our redox reaction, we have this mnemonics: oil ring. Oxidation is loss of electron, reduction is gain of electron. So reduction happens at the cathode. So what we have is, so write our hydrogen ion here, H plus. We gain electron. Number of electrons we gain, number of electron that's lost, which is 1. This is the symbol for electron, that's 1 electron. To give us hydrogen gas. Now hydrogen is diatomic, so it's going to be H2. And now since it's the H2, there's need for us to balance the equation. So our hydrogen here become 2, and we have 2 hydrogen here. That means that's lost 2 electron. So also here we'll add 2. So this is the ionic half equation for the production of hydrogen at the cathode. Next, question 4. Hydrogen iodide thermally decomposes into iodine and hydrogen. The reaction is reversible. Figure 4.1 shows a gas syringe containing a mixture of hydrogen iodide, iodine, and hydrogen gases. The gas syringe is sealed and the mixture is heated to 300 degrees Celsius. The mixture of gases reaches equilibrium and is purple. Okay, so take note of all the information here. Question A. State what is meant by the term equilibrium. So equilibrium is when the rate of forward reaction is equal to the rate of reverse reaction and the concentrations of the reactant and the product is constant. Please, you must mention the second point. It's a 2-mark question. Then usually lose 1 mark here because of the last statement. So you must add that the concentration of the reactant and the product is constant. Don't stop at the rate of reverse reaction. Next, the pressure of the mixture is increased. All other conditions stay the same. The position of the equilibrium does not change. The color of the gases mixture turns darker purple. The temperature remains constant. Explain why the position of the equilibrium does not change. So pressure was increased, but there is no change in the position of equilibrium. But then the mixture becomes darker. So you are asked, why does the equilibrium position of the equilibrium does not change? And the simple answer is, there is same number of gas molecules on both sides. Remember we said that when we increase pressure, the position of equilibrium is supposed to move to the side that has less number of gas moles, and if you decrease it, it's going to move to the side that has more gas moles. If you look at it here, they react on both sides. We have 2 moles of hydrogen iodide, and then on this side also we have 1 mole of iodide and 1 mole of hydrogen, making 2 moles. So 2 moles of gas here, 2 moles of gas here. Therefore, increasing the pressure or decreasing the pressure will change nothing. Next question: suggest why the color of the mixture of the gases turns darker purple. The answer is iodine molecules are closer together. When the pressure is increased, even though the position of the equilibrium does not change, the iodine molecules will be forced to come closer together. And when they come closer together, it will become darker purple because the particles are closer together. Next question. The temperature of the mixture of gases is decreased. All other conditions stay the same. The mixture of the gases turns lighter purple. What can be deduced about the forward reaction from this information? What we are told is that the temperature of the gas is decreased. And if the temperature is decreased, the equilibrium will move to the exothermic side. And then we are told that the mixture of the gas turns lighter purple. And let's come to the equilibrium. This is purple gas. So we are told that when the temperature is decreased, this purple gas become lighter, which means it's telling us that the reaction moves to the left because the color becomes lighter. So it's moving to the left. Now, since it is moving to the left, that means it's telling us that the backward reaction is exothermic. Because, like I said, when the temperature is decreased, to move to the exothermic side to oppose that change in temperature. Now, if the backward reaction is exothermic, it means that our forward reaction is what? Endothermic. So therefore, we are asked that state what can be deduced about the forward reaction from this information. The forward reaction is endothermic, and this is because the backward reaction is exo. Next question: deduce the oxidation number of iodine in hydrogen iodide and then in iodide. So for this, we go to the rules for oxidation number, so that the sum of the oxidation number of a compound is equal to 0. So that means the sum of the oxidation number of hydrogen and iodine is supposed to be equal to 0. And the oxidation number of hydrogen is plus 1, obviously because the valency of hydrogen is 1. So since hydrogen is 1 plus our iodine, that is what we are looking for, will be equal to 0. What we'll do is to make I subject of formula. So plus 1 will come to this side, it becomes minus 1. So therefore, the oxidation number of iodine is minus 1. That's our answer. So for this, one of the rules said that the oxidation number of an uncombined element is 0. So this is an uncombined element. So it does not form bond with another atom. So therefore, the oxidation number is 0. Next question. Methanol is manufactured by reacting carbon monoxide with hydrogen. This is the equation of the reaction. The rate of formation of methanol increases when a catalyst is used. Choose from the list the element that is most likely to be used as the catalyst. Draw a circle around your chosen answer. So what we are going to look at here is transition elements, because transition elements are the elements that are used as catalysts. Calcium is not a transition element, carbon is not. Transition element there is copper. So that will be our answer. Check the effect on position of equilibrium when a catalyst is used. The answer is no effect. Catalyst does not affect the position of the equilibrium. It only speed up the rate of reaction. Check the effect that a catalyst has on the activation energy of a reaction. The answer is it lowers the activation energy. So we say that catalyst increases the rate of reaction. How it does that is by lowering the activation energy. Therefore, the rate of reaction will increase. Don't forget, catalyst does not have effect on the position of equilibrium. It's temperature, pressure, and concentration that have effect on the position of equilibrium. What catalyst does is to increase the rate of the forward reaction and the reverse reaction. What catalyst does is to increase the rate of the forward reaction and the reverse reaction by lowering the activation energy. That will bring us to the end of part 1, covering question 1 to 4. Check out part 2, covering question 5 to 7 in the next video, or check the description of this video to get the links to the part 2. I will see you in part 2.